All right, if all is going well, we are streaming now. What's up? I'm Vervi. Uh,
Hey,
I'm here with Gamerado Ignacio and Kiss Shot, also known as Jacob. Jake.
That is me. Oh,
All right, I gotta turn you up, Jacob. You are a
Oh.
bit quiet on my end.
I can get closer
Fair
to
enough.
the mic.
I can turn you up. Don't worry about it.
don't need the mic.
Okay.
All right, what's up, guys? How's it going?
So, how you guys doing? How's the chat doing today? Have you guys had a great weekend? No, Ultra was last week.
Oh
Last
yeah,
weekend.
Ultra was. I didn't watch much of it live, but I watched a lot
Oh,
of the.
dude.
I watched a lot of the the VODs that artists uploaded afterwards.
Yeah.
It's definitely some good show.
Yeah.
The Justice show was
Dude.
amazing.
I know, right?
It was awesome. It was sick.
I have no clue what you
I
guys are
watched-
talking
Ultra.
Ultra Music Festival.
You know, watch it or listen to the sets?
about. Oh wait, Ultra, that was here in Orlando.
No, that's EDC.
No, in Miami.
Yeah,
Something
Miami.
was in Miami. I was thinking of singing, and then I was like, oh wait, it's today. And then I was like, all right.
Okay. All right. Well, Jacob didn't
Yeah.
go to Ultra then. That's what we'll say.
didn't.
The official stance
Yeah.
of Unheard podcast pre-stream.
I mean, Ultra was last weekend, so it would be pretty crazy for some
Yeah.
people. Yeah, I love the fucking Major Lazer show. It
Oh,
was so good.
My local festival SMF is having the headliners are Major Lazer and who's the other one? I don't know. Major Lazer is one of the headliners. I've seen him before in like 2013, but I'm
Yeah.
really excited to see him again.
Diplo is fucking. He's a legend.
I've seen Skrillex. I've seen Diplo alone. I've seen Major Lazer, but I haven't seen Jack U. So that's like that's when it all comes together, and I haven't got to
I'm
see that
jealous.
yet.
I think the only live show or anything I've ever been to was Life in Color in like here in Orlando, and it's basically just like the biggest show, like an EDM festival
Right,
thing.
right.
And then they just throw a bunch of paint at people.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen shots from those kind of shows.
Yeah,
That
it
look
was
crazy.
really nice.
We
I got
have
lot of
a-
paint on it. I swallowed some of it. It wasn't good.
Yeah, don't
We
eat
have-
the paint.
Yeah, it was alright. I mean, whatever.
The only festival I can go to here is like Lollapalooza. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah, Lollapalooza. Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, like this year fucking Flume played there.
Oh, that's dope. I did hear about that stream.
Yeah,
Wait,
I did not watch it. I didn't know it was happening until like it happened, and then everyone was talking about it, and I was like, ah, fuck.
Yeah, I didn't get to catch it.
I'm thinking that
Uh,
like in May, I might skip my prom and go to Rolling Loud. I'm not sure you guys know what that is. But the
Damn,
lineup is,
dude.
like, ridiculous.
Dude, why don't you get a ticket to SMF? It's in May.
that?
You can come. It's in Tampa. It's
Okay.
you can come stay with us, me, for the night. It's a Saturday and Sunday.
That sounds dope as shit.
And it's
Oh,
the
shit.
headliner. One of the headliners is Major Lazer, and then I'll send you the lineup after the stream.
Alright, sounds
We just made this plan just now.
That's cool.
All right, but I
We
think
made it
had-
live, guys.
Yeah, we did
What?
it live, bro. I think we had a couple.
What's your favorite set from Ultra?
From Ultra? I'm gonna have to go with Justice. I already talked about it, but
I
I just the live stage. Anything that happens on the live stage, I'm a huge fan of.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I mean, like, the live show, yeah, like, Justice was my favorite, but, like, my favorite set, I think, was Major Lazer.
Yeah. Oh man, they always just throw down such a good show, honestly.
It's so good. It was improvised as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounded pretty improvised. The transitions weren't, like, the best, but, like, the song selections, fucking awesome.
There's
Right.
actually a nice lineup.
Yeah,
Right.
any of you saw Lollapalooza?
It's cool.
Yeah, I could have gone to it. Well, not really, because no money. But
Physically.
it's in my country, man. It's in my country,
Yeah. Wait, where do you live?
in Argentina.
Oh, that's cool. That's dope.
All right. So
Yeah. I think we had some topics to talk about today that were suggested on our Twitter.
yeah,
Beyond
You wanna
live
start?
shows, I guess.
yeah. I mean, first topic we have is the chat. You can join us on this, especially the first topic. I think it's the one we'll all relate to. which is efficiency versus creativity. You know, the whole thing of crapping tunes out. It's kind of
Yeah.
not best term, but it's like, you know, doing tunes faster kind of sounds similar.
Yeah, Dead Mouse.
Yeah, Holly. I'm looking at you, Holly. Or, you know, very formulaic sort of tracks. You know, just do a genre. I'm gonna do trap every day.
Oh, I wanted to throw a quick plug real quick for the music in the background being Kiss's music. Jacob, our guest on the show today.
Yeah.
If you like the sounds in the background, that's a Kiss shot. You can just search. I think you can just search Kiss // shot on SoundCloud. He'll pop up. Pretty sure that'll work, right?
Yeah.
Good time to take off.
All right. Yeah.
Perfect.
And take off. Here, I'll just link you in the chat right now. How about that?
Juan.
Appreciate that.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Tell Juan says he can contribute to the topic. Sounds gonna be cool.
All right.
So, well, yeah, we said about, you know, efficiency. And then creativity, you know, we can go. Some examples I think would be Shadian, I guess. You know, he puts a tune like every fucking 3 months.
Yeah. I mean, I read somewhere at his peak, Flux Pavilion, he did an AMA, I think it was like 2012 or something. I don't want to say that's his peak, but just, you know, in his producing peak, I guess, he was writing about doing a track every 6 months, like finishing a track every 6 months. Or maybe it was working on a track for 6 months. So he might have had like they might have come out more often, but he had to have started them way earlier because it took him 6 months to totally finish a track. So like clearly he's very, I mean, obviously kind of dubstep and in that era of, especially with like the bro step stuff, very complex music to produce, but 6 months is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the whole controversy, okay, whatever. Like the whole thing, like the whole discussion is you want to spend time on your music, right? You want to spend time, make it perfect and whatever. You want to put tunes out as well, because, you know, especially now more than ever with the ADHD generation and all, you can't, it's kind of like moving towards quantity over quality, you know what I mean? It's still like they're still looking for quality, but when you have people like Holly that, you know, they're blowing up, and it's just every track sounds like, yeah, just the same.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
trap 808
Or-
weird stuff. You know?
Yeah, that kind of sound, that future bass sound, that was really big. There was artists like he went by XVII at the time, but he goes by Vincent now, and he had this super saw sound, and it would be like, oh, there's a new Vincent song out, there's a new remix, and it would be like the build up would be like really interesting and really dope, and the samples that he uses and all that, and then the drop would hit, and it was the same super saw, dun, 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 the whole every time, and it was just like, oh, like he like literally just plugged and play everything together.
I mean, I think if your goal is to make music that just reflects you, you know, and if you want to push the boundaries of a genre, then creativity is definitely more important. But for a lot of people, music isn't something that they're doing because they love it, but more so because other people like the way they do it. So it's a business for them. You know what I mean? So if you're doing it for money, then efficiency is the most important part. DJ Mustard is an example of that. I mean, yeah DJ Mustard.
I mean,
and
almost
if it's
every
creativity. What's up?
No, go ahead.
No, but if what you're looking for isn't really for you to make money, you know, you just want to be able to sustain yourself, but you also want to make something that you enjoy and reflects who you are, etc. And what's in your head, then creativity is the most important part. So if DJ Mustard was doing what he does, I don't know, because that's just how his head works, then like that's I kind of lost myself just now.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna tag on earlier when you were talking about, you know, DJ Mustard.
Yeah.
I think any producer who produces beats like that for selling wise, like like when DJ Mustard makes a song, he's probably not making, his own favorite song.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because he's done it for so long. But that doesn't mean it's not like fantastic, and well produced and high quality. But that's just his normal now. But he
Yeah.
definitely, any producer who's making money doing it, and you want to talk about Atlanta producers like, I don't know, like Sunny Digital, or anyone who's ever produced a song with DJ Khaled can go under that. And people like that. I'm losing like any ability to remember names right now, but you guys know who I'm talking about, those kind of producers, and all of them are all process based. We have a couple in some of the Discord servers I'm around, and these people are like, they post for feedback and their tracks sound very similar, but they're gonna sell it for $100 and never touch it again, instead of thinking of it as, this is their song. You just think of it as, it's a product they're producing. It's like a shoe or a jacket or something. You make it, you sell it, and it's gone. And
their creativity is only there until, it seems to me, the creativity is really only there until they find something that enough people will like, that they'll just listen to over and over again. You know what I mean? Until they get to the point where they can be like, I can just release the same track 5 times and just sound a little different. Then at that point, for them, it doesn't really matter.
Okay. Juan said something interesting in the chat. Now that I consider that I know the basics pretty well, I take much longer to finish tracks, almost triple the time. I pay a lot more attention to little details and textures. I try to make my transitions as smooth as possible, and it takes a long time. Yeah, I think it also has to do with like experience, because once you know more about music and production and whatever, you start like seeing like little flaws that you didn't see when you first started, or when you weren't really like. I get that with the visual as well. When I do like 3D art, right? And when I look at a lot of like Instagram, it's like everyone says it's good, but like for me, it's like it's cool, but like it's missing its thing, like a little touch that just makes it. Which I think happens with music as well. It's like making transitions perfect, the mix clean as fuck, and textures and details. Like that makes a track. I feel like that's what makes a track next level for a lot of people, and that what makes people be more creative. I think it's experience, because usually when you're starting out, you should do like the most generic thing to ever exist. You know what I mean? Because you're learning. But a lot of people just get stuck in that loop of making generic.
Well, honestly, I think that almost goes both ways, because when you're new as well, everything you do is trying something new, right? So, when I first started out, I went to, so SMF has gone every year in my city, and so we were just talking about it earlier. The first year I went to SMF, I saw Philostrodamus, huge trap group, pretty much like, I don't know, revolutionized what we know as like modern, or now it's like passe trap music, but trap music at its peak, like 2013, 14, and 15. I got home that night and I made this like totally garbage like trap song, because I was like, this Philostrodamus is cool. I had never tried to make trap before. I listened to a lot of Latin genres, like a Moomba and reggaeton type stuff, and then I listened to a lot of house music. So that's like what I always tried to make. And then I saw trap music live for the first time, and I got home and I made this, like, at the time, I mean, this is garbage song, and I found it a couple weeks ago, and it sounds great, because it's like it's not particularly good, but it's so creative. There's like a lot of potential there to make it into something. And so I think, as much as we talk about the more you know, the more attention to detail you have, the less you know, the more creative I think you can be. And then, like looking back on my old projects, I see so many ideas that I would never try now, because I feel like it's wrong, because I've learned that it's wrong, even though it might have worked in a really good context if I tried it, So like we talk about being creative versus being knowledgeable. It's like they work in that aspect as well, or at least being creative versus putting out a product is like, you don't have to, you can go in and just make something insane on your first try, because you've never done it before, and that could take 10 minutes and still sound great, because it's all brand new stuff. Like if EQing is as brand new as tuning saw wave or this or that, you know, then that's all new stuff, which is interesting and fun to think about or go back to your old projects and look at.
I think it's like different to each person, because I'm kind of the opposite of you. Like when I first started, oh man, when I started, I used to make like electro, like generic big room kind of electro stuff, and
Right.
then when I moved on to trap, and then I do like everything and like hybrid genres and like because well, for me how it worked was like, since I had a more wide knowledge of different genres and music stuff, I could actually like experiment more with my knowledge. But I also agree with what you said, because I also went through old projects, and I found a lot of ideas, and I was like, damn, this is cool.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
if
for like my old stuff, when now that I think about it, a lot of my old stuff, like melodically, was actually like, to be honest, like better than the stuff I have out now.
Mm-hmm.
But like if I go back, like I'm still like so stuck there with like, damn, this was so good. What am I doing now? That I have like 5 tracks right now from like 2 years ago that I'm like I can't let go. I'm trying to remake them with my new knowledge so I can try to make them like releasable or something like that, because I feel like compared to like my new stuff is just more polished. But I had like my creativity was more like intact back then, because now I have to worry about like, oh, there's a process, oh, the mixing is weird, all that stuff.
And it's so
So it's
hard to break that
yeah,
to that knowledge where you're like,
yeah,
okay, this is wrong. It's so hard to actually like
yeah,
approach a track and be like, okay, that's actually wrong, but I can do it because it's gonna sound cool, or it's gonna like they say like break the rules in the right way. That works so well when you don't know there are rules, you know?
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, perfectly. That's perfect actually. Okay, I think Juan pretty much said that.
yeah.
You can throw an old project and I found a melody with a freaking great ending, really satisfying. I achieved that by going out of key, and at the time I made it, I didn't know music theory was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the big dilemma of music theory. It's like when you know music theory, sometimes you tend to limit yourself, and
Yeah,
I
definitely.
feel
That's why I
like
haven't learned theory yet. That's why right there. Yeah.
yeah, that's why. That's
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think music theory is really. Most of the time, like 8 out of 10 times, it helps us for the better. But a lot of time, but also sometimes you actually can ignore the theory a little bit and go with that.
It really stresses me out, like knowing theory, because and also like because I'm taking a theory class at my school, and for like the first like quarter or so of the class, I'm like, okay, I was like actually like, okay, yeah, I can use this for something. But like at the
Yeah.
point where I'm at now, they're still teaching you rules that aren't supposed to even be used anymore. Like like back then, there were so many limitations in like the romantic and classical period that
Yeah.
you could have made something amazing, but it would have been like as a musician you'd be ostracized because you broke like a rule or something like that or whatever. And they're still teaching that, and it makes the people in the class think that that's still something you're not supposed to do, and it really limits you. So like I go home, and even though I know that this is teaching, it's almost like history that they're teaching. My brain is still like, no, you're not supposed to be doing that. you
Right.
know
Yeah.
so like when I'm looking at like when I'm trying to make a melody or something, instead of just like searching in my own head for those like really nice melodies I used to have, I find myself going on Google and looking up like a scale of like, oh, I want to make this type of thing. So I end up looking at like the Hirajoshi scale, and then I'm looking at it like, damn, I can't do anything with this because it's so limiting.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
I've definitely adopted kind of a hybrid style. I'm not classically music theory trained. And I can't like sit down and play on a piano and play like coherent chords, I guess you could say. But when I do end up going and doing research on, okay, like, um, okay, what's something that sounds almost melancholy if I'm trying to hit a vibe, or I'm trying to
Yeah.
hit, a mood in a song, and of course I design the sign, do sound design, around that as well. But if I'm looking into chords, because it's something I don't know, so I look it up, and I look at a chord or something, and I put it in. I usually just try to nail down like one or two hits, one or two, chords, triads or whatever. And then from there, I really try to open it up, and I don't really pay attention to what's in key, because like once you hear, like there's a level of like experience that you can do a lot by ear if you
Yeah.
give yourself the chance to. And a lot of people feel like if they're not classically trained or trained in theory or anything like that, they won't be able to do it by ear. And I've learned that we have very powerful abilities if we try. Coming
Yeah.
to from music theory. So I find a couple triads that sound good in key. And then from there I do it by ear, and it might be a little out of key, or it could be notes here wrong, or even whole hits wrong. But
Yeah.
as long as it fits into what I'm trying to do, like I've trained myself that like that's one of those like breaking the rules thing. I don't really know the rules off the top of my head. I have to look up what's in key or what's out of key. So if I do it by ear, then I've freed myself up to, being
Yeah.
able to construct.
I think doing by ear, like when you have more experience doing it by ear, it's just better.
That's definitely true.
Like the other day, I literally just improvised like this, like beautiful piano. But like I usually, I have like a little MIDI thing. I wasn't even I didn't even know what key I was playing in, and it sounded like just like so great. And I think it's like you just have to stop listening to the theory and like start listening to your ears,
Gotta listen to your heart, man.
Yeah, you gotta listen to your heart. When doing chords for melodies, you can kind of ignore it. Like I make melodic dubstep, and there's no way I can make my giant ass chords without knowing theory. Melodies though, melodies are full on by ear for me. Oh yeah, it depends on the person. I mean, everyone's different when making music / art / whatever.
Yeah.
So it just comes down to your thing. I don't want you guys to take what we're saying as like fact or how it should be, because that's literally the opposite of what we're saying.
Yeah. Sharing perspectives.
Yeah, it's all about like if it works for you.
Yeah.
It works.
And that's what you learn, because something we say like it could change the way you think, maybe like help you with something, and then maybe a comment you post and there could be something I didn't think of, for example, help me out.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of I was gonna say, kind of to bring it back towards using like your creativity versus efficiency, because we kind of got talking about knowing or not knowing things. But yeah, to bring it back around to like what our original topic was, then you focus one thing down, you focus a certain thing down, say music theory, and you get it down, and then your music theory, your chords or your melodies become, I don't want to say boring, but they follow the rules, while your sound design is really interesting because you have no idea what you're doing there, or your rhythmic content is really interesting. So there's also that kind of balance where like if you find yourself if you find yourself knowing a lot about one topic, because people tend to do like, I don't want to say one thing at a time, but people tend to take on different subjects, music theory, sound design, percussion, things like that, at different times. They don't usually tackle it all at once. And if you find yourself focusing down one topic, give yourself that chance to open up, or at least I try to. Like, I know like my mixing is fairly good, and so I use sound design to like challenge myself, and work on that. So it's like I don't know anything about sound design. I'm pretty much drag around, go to a couple presets, see what sounds almost good, and then mess with it and kind of make it my own. And then and that's something that I don't know anything about, and that's that that creativity. But also it's more efficient that way, and it helps me get things done, because that's like, again, not knowing it means that I have to work through it to get it done anyways. So that's kind of like related to presets overall, is which is something I think we were going to talk about, but we're almost out of time now. Is like,
we have like 5 minutes left.
Yeah, is like, is that kind of fits in there, is like efficiency is presets. That's clicking and finding something you like. Where creativity is that, tuning a synth or the joke, tuning a kick, tuning a snare.
Yeah. But like also
Patrick says experimentation is always good, no matter how much you already know. Yeah, I mean, definitely And we're not saying like you can only experiment when you're like new. What we're saying is like when you're new, you experiment without trying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
'Cause,
learning is experimenting, and it's all
because
new.
you're learning. It's
Yeah.
it's all new.
That's kind of what I was saying, is that it's not that you can't experiment when you know a lot. It's that you experiment in a different way. You experiment
Yeah.
within the walls of what you know. More. You're more likely to, I guess you could say, experiment
Yeah.
within what
Yeah.
you already know. Whereas when you're experimenting and you don't know it, it's everywhere. There's no walls, you know.
Yeah. Well, again, that doesn't really apply for me in particular, but I think everyone's different. For me, it's usually like um now that I know, I can actually just go out of my comfort zone because I know my comfort zone and just do crazy whatever, or just get ideas. Like I like to challenge myself. Like the other day I made like fucking an ambient song with using Discord samples, like just Discord samples. And then the other day I made like trap drop with just samples from my room and like that sort of stuff, you know what I mean? Like challenge yourself to actually experiment for once when you already know, because it's really easy to fall in the cycle of just doing what you know because it's
Yeah.
easier. Yeah, I mean, thank you, Snacks, on the Discord. Snack says, good pre-show, guys. Okay emoji. Okay hand emoji. I'm sorry. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to talk about. Maybe in the chat, you guys have an idea. Um, you guys on the stream. We have a little topic that we got on Twitter. That was I don't know if we can really talk about this because like I don't know if you really have any stories about this, but the chat could join us. What makes you keep going when you feel stressed over a track, and what are your stressful production situations?
I stop and I
Uh,
start a new one.
yeah.
A lot of the time for me, like music for me is like I love it, but it also is kind of like what like my biggest source of stress. I think even more so like in school, because in school is something that I have to do. Like music is something that I want to do. So when I sit in front of the screen for 6 hours and I don't know what to do with a track, I either like find myself, I don't know why it is that I stay there. I feel like it's kind of like my obligation almost to make music. So I just if that doesn't work, if I can't just make something, then I'll just listen to other people, and then that'll like make me want to keep making music because I feel like
Yeah.
doing something. Here I am just sitting here, you know. I just have like just that impulse, but I don't really know why exactly it is, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be, yeah, the fear of failure. Atra has says in the chat. Like, stressful production situations I've had, I think would be the making of my album. That's still not out yet. That's I literally made the entire album and scrapped it, and then made it again. Like, and it was kind of stressful. I mean, I did not force myself on the album. It was like the opposite. But like, when you do like a long-term project like this, and then you like you get more experience, you get better, and then you listen to it again, and you're like, oh, this is
Yeah.
bad. And when you made it, you're like, fuck, this is cool. And it's like, kind of don't want to release it anymore.
Yeah. You wake up.
But I've been getting the habit of like listening to old music and think like old music of mine and appreciate what I did right, because like I love what, like, it's like the whole topic of deleting old songs on your SoundCloud and stuff. I think it reflects who you were on the time that you made it, like especially when it's like a long time back. I think it's good to look back at your old projects and like not just say it's shit,
Yeah.
and just say you know, I can appreciate this for what it is.
Yeah. I also feel
Alright.
like with the fear. Oh, are we done here?
Oh,
you can,
keep
yeah.
going.
I was just gonna say like the fear of failure thing. Cause remind me, I feel like I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but I feel like I'm just very with the little group of producers that I know this is my circle. I'm competitive, you know, when it comes to this. I'm like, damn, if I stop now, then they're gonna get ahead of me. Like that. And
Yeah.
I don't know.